1899. A little 400-page book, man, and that type of, and this type of ethnography, that's fast. That's fast by today's standards. They collect all of this data and write. How long was this book? I'm sorry, I said 400. This is 520 pages by 1899. He scoured it in the late 1800s. Scoured Black Philadelphia, collecting data, house to house, interview to interview, survey to survey, and he had no computer program to compile all this stuff. They had to generate those numbers themselves and get that book out by 1899. That's fast. That's lightning speed by today's standards, with all the computer programs and all that stuff. Okay, cool. How many black people are in the South Ward? I mean, South Ward, I keep saying that. 7th Ward. Because that's where the criminals is at, or that's where most of them are. You know, he's interested in looking at black criminality. So at the end of the day, most of his attention and research energy is focused in the 7th Ward. How many folk do we have there? Black folk. This is the poorest black ward of Philadelphia at the time. 9,000. All right? Now we're getting a better impression of what's going on in Philadelphia at this time. At this time. Anybody, what kinds of specific research methods? Survey. What kinds of ways or techniques or instruments are they using to collect data? That's important for us to know. Okay.
You mentioned some of them. You said interviews went through.
Somebody told me about the 6 schedules. What are the 6 schedules? Turn to page 2. What are the 6 schedules? What are the 6 schedules? Yeah, Ms. Boucher.
You said family schedule.
Okay, what does that mean? 1, family. What does that mean?
Asking questions like the number of members, their age and sex.
Okay. Went house to house in the 7th Ward, getting a family schedule, understanding for each family, right, nuclear family, what consisted of the nuclear family at that time. Was there a mother in the house? Was there a father? How many children? Etc., etc., etc. That was a family schedule. What's that next schedule?
Individual.
All right. What's that about?
That's pretty much the same exact questions, but on an individual basis.
Nice. So they're asking about age, they're asking individual characteristics. Gender, who are you? As an individual. Like census stuff, census data. This is pretty much the census probably methodology. I'm going to skip over the 3rd one that they present, but I'm going to for this one present house survey. I think it's number 5 or 6 on the list. I don't know. I'm going to present this one as 3 because, as he writes, in-house survey is really a spin-off of the individual schedule. So let's get the 5 or 6 in that page. What does a house servant schedule mean?
People who live in like their places of employment. Their individual schedule, but based on how like it interacts with their employment status.
That's not a family member. It's more than likely, I mean, probably, maybe the help, right, in terms of butler or something like that, possibly, I don't know. But more than likely, it's talking about slaves. Anybody get all that in the reading, page 1 to 45, the first period, right? All kinds of extensive discussions in chapter 1 about slavery in black Philadelphia in the 16, 17, and 1800s. It was a prevalent experience. It was a dominant lifestyle. And they went through great pains in the late 1800s to finally undo slavery in Philadelphia. You think of slavery as being a southern experience, but slavery was very, very, very present in Philadelphia as well as in other cities. Ms. Alicia, you have a question?
Yeah, as far as the house server not being a family member, even though they're not counted as a family member, they're obviously living in the house. Are they being fed by that family, like clothing, all that stuff goes straight to them? So they'd be treated just like a family member as far as economy goes, like money spent.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Technically, right? But for the boys in this study, make sure that they're not counted in this study as a traditional family member. That definitely helped to make up the family on some level. But these are your slaves, though. These yeah, definitely. 4. Home schedule. What is that? What's a home schedule? What's that? All right, go for it.
Number of rooms, the rent, the lodgers, the grievances.
Let's say it again. And who?
You said home, right?
Yeah. I just couldn't hear you.
Number of rooms, the rent, the lodgers.
I'm not looking at it, so whenever you finish, you finish. That's it. Okay. All right. But great detail of the home in and of itself, minus the people. How many rooms? How many homes? What does the house look like? You know, if we get further into the book, we're going to read a scene. This is later on in the book, where there's a guy in the back of row houses. He shows you the model. You know, he draws it out, and he walks into the row house, and it's just a mother or a wife or somebody who is there in an interesting state. She's just rocking back and forth, and just a dead man laying on the floor. Right? That was his row house. That's the kind of detail he's offering, particularly with respect to the home analysis. The home analysis. Okay, cool. What else is going after 4? What's the street schedule? And what's the institutional schedule? Yep.
The street schedule would be I guess the small streets and the alleyways that they say in the book.
Absolutely. It gives great detail about the avenues, the streets, how long they are. It gives a little bit too much detail in this book. But that was DuBois. That's how he did it. He wanted us to know exactly what was going on there. Can I see your hand go up about street schedule? Anything? Okay. Cool. Great. What's the institutional schedule? It's not that hard. Trust me. It's pretty much probably what you're already thinking. Anybody else? Give me a new person. Somebody who hasn't spoken. Mr. Hicks, what's going on, brother? What's the institutional schedule? What might it be? I know you don't have the book in front of you. What might it be?
Organization.
Nice. Exactly. So he's going around in Black Philadelphia, definitely the 7th Ward. He's identifying all of the institutions. CBOs, I don't know what they call them at the time, but you know, who's helping? Schools, you know, and the other formal traditional institutions as well. To get a sense of exactly what's going on or exactly what's there in Black Philadelphia. All right. What were some of the other white populations that were in Philadelphia at that time? Well, okay. But go for it.
Quakers.
Quakers. He talks a lot about Quakers.
Quakers are
He talks a lot about the Quakers.
Philadelphia.
Anybody remember what he said about the Quakers? Anybody? We'll get there. But he's making the argument, and we should know this. I'll throw this in the midterm. He's making the argument that that the Quakers probably had the best information or data on black crime in Philadelphia amongst the slaves. And that's where he got a lot of his data or his literature to do this project. Because they were one of the only white groups that were trying to help out the slaves in Philadelphia. They would chronicle and they would document extensively how it happened.